The room was cold. The air smelled of metal and chemicals. Bright white lights flickered above, but the corners of the laboratory were drowned in shadows. He lay strapped to a steel table, leather belts tight across his arms and chest. His heart pounded, each beat echoing in his ears like a drum. He tried to move, but the restraints cut into his skin. Fear burned inside him. He did not know why he was here. He did not remember walking into this place. He only remembered darkness. And then waking up under the light. A woman stood over him. She wore a long white coat. Her hands shook as she held a syringe filled with thick blue liquid. Her face was pale, her lips pressed together, and her eyes darted toward the door every few seconds. She looked like someone on the edge of breaking. He whispered, voice hoarse, "What are you doing?" Her hand trembled harder. She leaned closer, her hair falling over her face. Her voice was soft, almost too soft to hear. "No one must ever know," she whispered. Then, without waiting, she pushed the needle into his arm. The cold liquid rushed through his veins like fire and ice at the same time. His body arched against the straps. His teeth clenched so hard he thought they might crack. His vision blurred, light stretched into long lines, and every sound grew sharp, so sharp it cut into his mind. He screamed, but the sound did not even feel human. The woman stepped back, her hands covering her mouth. Her eyes filled with regret, with fear, with something else. Secrets too heavy to speak. He tried to breathe, but his chest burned. His skin felt alive, as if thousands of tiny sparks ran under it. He looked at his own arm. The veins glowed faintly, blue like the serum. The glow pulsed with his heartbeat. "What did you do to me?" he gasped. But before she could answer, alarms exploded in the room. Red lights flashed. A siren wailed through the ship, echoing down long corridors. Heavy boots thundered closer, soldiers rushing toward the lab. The woman looked at the door, then back at him. Her eyes begged him for silence. "If they know," she whispered again, "they will kill you, they will kill all of us." The door hissed open, armed guards stormed inside, weapons raised. Their armor reflected the red warning lights. The leader's voice barked, step away from the subject." The woman lifted her hands slowly, trying to look calm. But her eyes never left him. He saw fear, guilt, and something else. Hope. She wanted him to survive. She wanted him to keep the secret. But he could barely hold on. His body shook violently. He felt as if something inside him was breaking apart and rebuilding at the same time. His heart raced faster, louder, stronger, until he thought it would burst. One of the guards shouted, "What have you done? What serum was that?" She said nothing. She only closed her eyes. His vision turned white. Heat roared through his skull, a storm of pain and strange energy. He saw images, stars burning, planets breaking, shadows of tall alien figures watching him. He heard voices, whispers in a language not his own. Then, silence. The world tilted. He collapsed against the table, barely conscious. The last thing he saw was the woman being dragged away by the guards, her eyes still locked on his. Her lips moved without sound, but he knew the words. No one must ever know. Darkness swallowed him. He woke for only a second later, floating in a sea of pain. He could not tell if he was alive or dying. The sounds of soldiers arguing faded into a distant hum. He felt weightless, but heavy at the same time, like his body no longer belonged to him. Then a sharp sting hit his chest. Someone shouted, "Stabilize him!" Another voice yelled, "It's too late!" Look at his vitals, this is not normal. He tried to speak, but only a weak breath came out. His skin still glowed faintly, faint blue lines under the flesh. He saw one soldier step back in fear. The man muttered, This isn't human." His mind spun. His eyes closed, and then there was only silence. He did not know how long he was gone. Hours, days, maybe more. But deep inside, one thought burned bright, stronger than the pain, stronger than the fear. The secret was alive in him now. And if the wrong eyes discovered it, humanity would never be safe again. Darkness broke apart. He opened his eyes slowly, the world swimming in strange colors. The white ceiling above him was too bright, almost glowing. Machines hummed softly beside the bed. A faint beeping echoed in the room, steady and slow, like the ticking of a clock. He was no longer strapped to the table. He lay in a medical bed, covered with a thin sheet. His arms felt heavy, but when he tried to move, the sheet crinkled under his grip with a tearing sound. He froze. His hand had crushed the fabric like paper. His breath caught. His fingers were stronger, too strong. The door opened with a hiss. A nurse stepped inside. She wore pale green clothes, a data pad in her hand. When she saw his eyes open, she froze for a second. Her lips parted as if she wanted to speak, but she quickly looked down, avoiding his gaze. "You are awake," she said softly. "Rest. Do not move too much." But her voice shook. Her hands trembled as she typed something. On the datapad, he could feel her fear even though she tried to hide it. "What happened to me?" His own voice startled him. It was deeper, sharper, like an echo lived inside it. The nurse did not answer. She only whispered, "Doctor will come soon," and rushed out of the room. He lay there staring at the ceiling, his chest rising and falling too fast. His mind replayed the memory of the woman in the lab. No one must ever know. Her voice still echoed like it had been burned into him. He closed his eyes, but instead of rest, he heard something strange. Sounds that should have been far away. Footsteps. Down the hall, voices speaking quietly, now came sharp and clear. "He survived the injection," a man's voice whispered. "Impossible. The Dominion will kill us if they find out." Another answered. His eyes flew open. He could hear them. He should not have been able to. The walls were thick, but the voices reached him like they were standing right beside his bed. Fear and confusion mixed inside him. He touched his arm. The faint blue glow was still there, pulsing gently with his heartbeat. He pulled the sheet tighter around himself as if it could hide what he was becoming. The door opened again. This time it was not a nurse. It was a man in a black uniform, tall and cold. His eyes scanned the room like a predator searching for weakness. Behind him, 2 guards waited. The man spoke slowly. "You will answer some questions." He sat up, his body stiff but stronger than before. "Who are you?" The man ignored the question. He looked at the machines, at the glowing veins in his arm, then back at him. "What do you remember?" The memory of the woman's whisper clawed at him. He wanted to tell them everything. He wanted to demand answers. But her warning held him silent. No one must ever know. "I remember nothing," he lied. The man's eyes narrowed. He studied him for a long moment, then turned sharply toward the guards. "Continue monitoring. If his condition changes, report directly to command." Then he left, boots echoing against the floor, the sound like iron chains dragging. Silence filled the room again, but not true silence. He still heard whispers outside, fear, anger, panic. One voice said, "If the Dominion discovers this, humanity is finished." Another replied, "Then we must keep him hidden." He shivered. Dominion. The name stirred something deep in his mind, something dark. He had seen flashes when the serum burned through him. Tall alien figures, shadows, with eyes like burning stars. Was that the Dominion? Were they watching? Hours passed. Sleep did not come. He stared at the ceiling, listening to every whisper, every footstep. His own heartbeat was louder now, like a drum calling him to battle. Later that night, the door slid open again. This time it was her. The scientist. The woman who had injected him. Her face was pale, her eyes shadowed with exhaustion. But her steps were urgent. She closed the door behind her and whispered quickly, "You must stay quiet. They are watching you." He sat up, anger boiling. "What did you do to me?" Her hands shook as she gripped the edge of his bed. I gave you something that was never meant for humans. The serum was not ready. It was not for you, it was not for anyone. Then why? His voice cut through the air, sharp as glass. She lowered her head. Because they forced me. Because the Dominion would never allow humans to rise higher. We were desperate. And you are the result. His chest tightened. The result of what? She looked up, eyes filled with fear. Of mixing human blood with theirs. The words crashed into him like thunder. Human blood with alien blood. He felt the glow in his arm pulse brighter, as if the serum itself responded to her words. His breath came fast. His mind spun. You must control it, she whispered urgently. If you lose control, they will notice. If the Dominion learns what you are, they will not just kill you. They will destroy everyone. He stared at her, his heart thundering, the room shrinking around. He wanted to scream, to demand the truth, but before he could, the sound of boots echoed outside again. The woman froze. She grabbed his wrist and leaned close. Remember my words. Hide it, or humanity will burn. The door hissed. Guards were returning. She slipped away into the shadows before they entered, leaving him alone, trembling, glowing faintly under the sheets. He lay back, staring at the ceiling, his body shaking with fear and power. The truth was inside him now. And the Dominion, whoever they truly were, would come looking. The ship drifted through the endless dark of space, but it was not alone. Far beyond the metal walls, beyond the glowing engines and the human colonies inside, another presence lingered. Silent. Watching. The Dominion. For decades, every human ship that crossed the stars lived under their shadow. The Dominion claimed the galaxy long before humans ever reached beyond Earth. They allowed humans to survive, to build colonies, to trade and travel, but only under strict rules. And the greatest rule of all, no human must ever be changed. No experiments. No evolution. He didn't know the full history, but he could feel it now. The word Dominion vibrated inside his mind like a warning bell. He had seen flashes, shadows of tall figures, their eyes burning like distant suns. And as the days passed, he started to notice something new. They were closer than anyone dared to admit. He sat in the medical bay, staring at the small window beside his bed. Outside, the stars glittered against the black. But tonight, something else drifted past. A drone. It was not human. Its design was alien, sharp and smooth, like a blade of silver light. Its single red eye glowed as it scanned the hull. Slowly, silently it passed, leaving him with a cold shiver down his spine. The nurse who checked on him noticed his stare. She followed his eyes, saw the drone, and quickly pulled the curtains shut. Her voice was a whisper. Don't look at them. If they notice your interest, they will investigate. He clenched his fists under the blanket. His veins glowed faintly again, blue light pulsing faster when his anger rose. He pulled the blanket tighter, forcing the glow to hide. They're watching me, aren't they? He said. The nurse's eyes flickered with fear, but she said nothing. She left the room without answering. Later that night, he could not sleep. His body was restless, his mind sharper than it had ever been. He heard everything, the hum of the engines, the faint buzz of the lights, the footsteps of guards outside the door, and then something else. A voice. Not human. It was faint, like a whisper in a dream, but it slipped into his mind. The subject has awakened. His breath caught. The voice was not in the room, it was not outside the door, it was inside him. The energy rises, the experiment breaks the law. He pressed his hands to his ears, shaking his head. Stop. Stop it. But the whispers only grew sharper. Alien words mixed with human language, thoughts layered like echoes inside his skull. He saw flashes. Dominion ships orbiting, commanders speaking in deep tones, their eyes searching the void, and one of them turned, staring directly at him across the distance of space. He gasped, snapping awake. Sweat covered his skin. The sheets twisted around him. His arm glowed brighter now, the serum pulsing like fire under the surface. The door slammed open. 2 guards rushed inside, weapons raised. "What's happening here?" one demanded. He looked at them, terrified, but the glow slowly dimmed as his heartbeat steadied. He shook his head. "Just a nightmare." The guards exchanged looks, then backed away slowly. But their suspicion hung in the air. They had seen something. He lay back, chest heaving. The whispers faded, but not completely. Somewhere out there, the Dominion had noticed. The next morning, the scientist returned. She looked worse than before. Dark circles under her eyes. Her hands twitching with nervous energy. "They know," he said the moment she entered. "I heard them, I felt them." Her eyes widened. "That should not be possible, not yet." "What are they? What do they want?" She hesitated, then pulled a chair close, her voice low and urgent. "The Dominion rule through fear. They control thousands of species, but they fear one thing above all: change. Evolution they cannot control. If they discover that humans are capable of becoming like them, or worse, stronger, they will erase us." He swallowed hard. "And that's what I am now?" She nodded slowly. "You are proof. Proof that humans can rise. That is why you must hide it. Even your own people would turn you over to save themselves." Her words hit him like knives. He thought of the guards, the nurse, the whispers outside his room. Everyone already feared him. Everyone already looked at him like a danger. And now, the Dominion themselves were watching. That night he tested himself. He stood in the empty room staring at his hand. Slowly he clenched his fist. The glow returned, faint but steady. He focused on the strength inside, pulling at it, pushing it. The air around his fingers shimmered faintly like heat rising from fire. The metal bed frame beside him groaned. He had not touched it, but it bent slightly as if his power reached out beyond his body. He gasped, pulling his hand back, and the glow faded. "What am I becoming?" he whispered. The room gave no answer, but outside another Dominion drone drifted past the window, its red eye glowing. And this time he thought, no, he knew. It lingered longer than before, watching only him. He lay awake again, fear twisting inside him. The scientist's warning, replayed in his mind. If they know, they will destroy everyone. The whispers echoed once more, faint but cold. The subject is unstable. Watch closely. The secret cannot remain hidden. He closed his eyes, his hands trembling. The Dominion were not just watching the humans, they were watching him. The medical bay was quiet, too quiet. For 3 days he had been left mostly alone. Guards checked on him, but from a distance, as if he carried a disease. Nurses brought food, but they placed the tray down quickly and rushed away. Even the scientist who had saved him stayed hidden, appearing only once to whisper warnings before vanishing again. He sat on the bed staring at his own hands. They looked normal, until they didn't. When he was calm, his skin was pale and ordinary. But whenever anger or fear rose inside him, the faint blue glow returned, pulsing with his heartbeat. He clenched his fist and watched the veins light up. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. But the glow was not the only change. He was stronger, faster. His hearing stretched across walls. His eyes adjusted easily to the dim light. He had even noticed details no human should notice. The hum of alien drones outside the hull, the faint vibration of the ship's engines deep below. At first, he tried to ignore it, to pretend he was normal. But one night, everything changed. It started with a nightmare. He dreamed of fire, of the Dominion's burning eyes staring into his soul. He saw cities collapsing, human colonies swallowed in alien flames. He woke with a scream, sitting upright in bed. The scream was not normal. The window cracked. The lights above flickered. The machines around him sparked and hissed. He froze, staring at the broken glass, his heart pounding. His scream had done that. Footsteps rushed to the door. Guards slammed it open, weapons raised. What happened? One demanded. He didn't answer. He couldn't. He was still staring at the crack in the window. The guards followed his eyes and their faces went pale. Get the commander, one muttered. No, he snapped, finally finding his voice. It was nothing, just a dream. But the glow in his arms betrayed him. It pulsed brighter, flashing like a warning light under his skin. The guards stepped back, fear tightening their grips on their rifles. He raised his hands slowly. I don't want trouble, please. But inside, he knew trouble was already here. The scientist came to him the next day. She looked even worse than before. Her clothes wrinkled, her hair messy, her eyes bloodshot. She carried a small black case and shut the door behind her. You can't control it anymore, can you? She whispered. He glared at her. You knew this would happen. You did this to me. Her voice broke. I had no choice. If I didn't, the Dominion would have destroyed the project and executed everyone involved. I tried to save us all. By turning me into this? He held up his glowing arm. What am I becoming? She opened the black case. Inside was a datapad filled with files and strange symbols. She turned the screen toward him. This is the truth, she said. He scanned the images. Alien DNA sequences. Charts showing fusion between human cells and Dominion samples. Notes describing unpredictable results. And at the center of it all, a word written in bold letters. Hybrid. His chest tightened. So I'm not human anymore. You are still human, she said quickly. But you are more than human now. The serum carried fragments of Dominion blood. It changed your body. It gave you their strength, their senses, maybe even their mind. The memory of the whispers returned, alien voices inside his head. He shuddered. They already know, he said softly. I can feel them watching. She nodded, tears in her eyes. Yes, that is why you must be careful. If they prove what you are, they will not stop until humanity is erased. To them, you are the greatest threat of all. He stood from the bed, fists clenched. Then I have to control it. I won't let them use me as an excuse to kill everyone. But control was harder than he thought. He tried breathing slowly, focusing on calm. The glow dimmed for a moment. But then the nurse outside dropped a tray, the sudden crash echoing through the hall. His heart jumped and so did the power. The bed frame bent under his hand. The machine sparked again. His eyes glowed faint blue in the mirror across the room. The scientist gasped. Stop! You'll expose us! He squeezed his eyes shut, forcing the power down, forcing his breath steady. Slowly, the light faded. But his body trembled, sweat dripping down his forehead. I can't, he whispered. I can't control it. You must, she said sharply. Because if the Dominion see this, they won't hesitate. They'll destroy this ship, and every human on it. Her words echoed inside him like a blade. He sat down heavily on the bed, hands shaking. The truth was clear now. He wasn't just different. He was dangerous. And he was running out of time. That night as he lay awake, the voices returned, louder this time, clearer. The experiment breathes. The human hides the truth. The secret cannot remain. He clutched his head, biting back a cry. His veins glowed again, lighting up the dark room, and outside the ship, a Dominion vessel drifted closer, its red eyes glowing in the endless black. They were coming. And he knew, no matter how hard he tried, he could not stay hidden for long. The announcement came without warning. A sharp alarm echoed through the corridors of the ship. A metallic voice followed, calm but cold. All colonists prepare for Dominion inspection. All must comply. The words sent fear across the vessel. People froze. Conversations died. Every human knew what this meant. Dominion ships had arrived. He stood by the window of the medical bay and saw it. A massive vessel loomed outside, black and silver, shaped like a blade cutting through the stars. Its surface shimmered with strange light, alive with alien energy. Compared to the human colony ship, it was a giant looking down at a child. His chest tightened. The whispers in his head grew stronger. Inspection begins. Secrets must be found. He stepped back from the window, heart racing. The door hissed open. Guards entered, their faces pale, their weapons held tight. Behind them came the commander. In black uniform, his eyes colder than before. "You will join the inspection line," the commander said flatly. Fear surged inside him. "Why me?" "Because you survived what no human should. The Dominion will want to see you." His veins burned faintly, the glow threatening to rise. He clenched his fists, forcing calm. If they noticed, if they scanned him too deeply, it would all be over. The humans were gathered in the docking bay. Hundreds stood in long rows, silent, heads bowed. The air was heavy with dread. Children clung to their parents. Soldiers lined the walls. But even they looked afraid. The bay doors opened. Dominion guards entered first. Tall figures in black armor, their helmets smooth and faceless. Their steps echoed like thunder, each one perfectly in sync. Then came the Dominion commander. He was taller than any human, his body lean but strong, his eyes glowing faint red. His voice was deep and carried through the bay without need of machines. "You will be tested." No one dared to move, no one dared to speak. The Dominion brought out their scanners, floating silver orbs with red beams of light. One by one, humans stepped forward. The beams passed over them, searching, reading, recording. Most passed quickly, but every failure meant death. When the first orb glowed red instead of green, the human it scanned screamed as Dominion guards dragged him away. The crowd shivered, but no one moved. Resistance meant extinction. When his turn came, he felt the weight of every eye on him. His feet felt heavy, but he forced himself to step forward. The orb floated closer, its red eye locking onto him. His heart thundered. The glow in his arm began to pulse. "Hide it," he told himself. "Control it." The beam swept across his body. He felt it tugging at his skin, his blood, his very cells. His mind screamed in pain. He saw flashes again. Dominion ships, burning stars, alien eyes staring into his soul. The voices in his head returned. "It is here. The secret lives." He clenched his jaw, fighting to stay calm. He thought of silence, of emptiness, of darkness. He forced the glow in his veins to dim. Sweat poured down his face. His entire body shook. The orb hovered longer than it should. The Dominion commander's eyes narrowed. At last, the orb glowed green. The humans exhaled as one. Relief washed over the crowd. He stepped back into line, his knees weak, but he saw the commander's gaze linger on him. The alien's red eyes studied him too long, too carefully. Suspicion burned there. They knew something was different. The inspection continued, but he barely heard it. His heart still raced, his body still trembled. He had survived, but only just. When the inspection ended, the Dominion commander spoke again. "You may continue your journey, but remember, no change is allowed, no evolution, no disobedience. We are watching." Then they left, as suddenly as they had come. The docking bay doors shut. The humans finally breathed again, but the fear did not leave. Later, back in the medical bay, the scientist appeared once more. She looked pale, sweat dripping down her temples. "You were chosen, weren't you?" she asked. He nodded slowly. The orb almost saw. Her hand shook as she gripped the bed rail. "You must never let it out again, not in public, not in front of them. If they discover what you are, they will wipe us all from existence." He sat in silence, staring at his hands. He remembered the commander's eyes, how they lingered. He remembered the whispers. "They already suspect," he said quietly. She looked at him with fear. "Then we have even less time than I thought." That night, he could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the orb's red beam, searching, pulling, almost exposing him. He felt the Dominion's presence pressing down on the ship, heavy as chains. The whispers returned. The hybrid hides, but not forever. He opened his eyes, staring into the dark. He had survived the test. But he knew the truth. The Dominion had seen enough to keep watching, and when they returned, they would not be fooled so easily. Days passed after the inspection, but peace never returned. The colony ship drifted forward through space, engines humming softly. But inside every corridor there was only fear. People whispered in corners. Parents kept their children close. No one laughed anymore. The shadow of the Dominion still pressed down on all of them, and he could feel it more than anyone. Every night the whispers grew louder. At first they were faint, distant thoughts, but now they spoke clearly, as if the Dominion were standing beside his bed, breathing into his ear. The hybrid grows stronger. The human experiment must end. He clutched his head, teeth grinding, as the alien voices tore through his skull. His veins glowed brighter with each word, his skin hot with energy. And then came the visions. He saw Dominion fleets stretching across the stars, hundreds, thousands of ships, each one larger than cities. He saw planets burning, oceans boiling, human colonies crushed under fire. But deeper than that, he saw something stranger. He saw humanity, changing. In his visions, humans stood taller, their eyes glowing with light, their strength beyond the Dominions. They were not slaves, not weak, not silent. They were free. They were powerful. The Dominion feared it. That was why experiments were forbidden. That was why his very existence was dangerous. Because he was proof that humans could rise. One evening, the scientist came to him again. She found him standing by the cracked mirror in his room, staring at his glowing reflection. His veins pulsed like rivers of light, and his eyes shone faint blue. "You're losing control," she whispered. He didn't look at her. "They're in my head. I can hear them, I can see them." Her face tightened. "That means the bond is growing. The serum didn't just change your body. It connected you to them." He turned sharply, anger burning in his voice. "You knew this would happen." Her eyes filled with guilt. "I suspected, but I had no choice. Humanity needed hope. The Dominion keeps us weak, but I believed if even one of us could rise, then maybe the rest could follow." His hands shook. The glow brightened, the bed frame behind, him bending under unseen force. The scientist stepped back, fear flashing in her eyes. "You must calm down," she cried. "If the Dominion senses this, they will know for sure." But he couldn't stop. The whispers roared louder, filling every corner of his mind. Break him. Destroy the failure. The humans must never evolve. He screamed, and the room exploded. The lights burst, sparks raining down. The machine shattered, metal twisting as if crushed by invisible hands. The floor cracked under his feet, the air trembling with energy. Guards stormed into the hallway, shouting, "Contain him! Restrain the subject!" The scientist held up, her hands blocking them. "No, if you touch him now, you'll kill everyone in this wing." But it was too late. He stood in the center of the chaos, glowing brighter than ever. The power poured out of him, unstoppable, a storm breaking free. His heartbeat echoed like thunder, each beat shaking the walls. The guards froze, weapons raised but trembling in fear. He looked at them, eyes blazing. For a moment he felt as if he could tear the rifles from their hands with nothing but thought. The scientist rushed to him, gripping his arm. "Listen to me. You must control it. If you don't, they'll sense it from across the stars." He looked at her, breathing hard, his body shaking. Slowly, painfully, he forced the energy back. His glow dimmed. The cracks in the floor stopped spreading. The walls steadied. Finally, he collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. The room was destroyed. The guards stared in horror. The scientist knelt beside him, whispering urgently, "This is what they fear. This is why they will never allow humans to change. Because if your power grows, if others like you appear, the Dominion's reign will end." Her words cut through the haze. He looked at her, chest still heaving. They keep us weak, because they're afraid. She nodded. Yes, you are not just an accident. You are their nightmare. That night, he sat alone in the dark, staring at his hands. For the first time, he did not just feel fear. He felt anger. The Dominion had ruled for centuries, crushing anyone who dared to rise. They called themselves protectors, but they were jailers. And now, through him, he had seen the truth. They feared humanity's future. The whispers returned, but this time he did not cover his ears. The hybrid must be destroyed. He closed his glowing fist. No, he whispered back. I will not be destroyed. The power surged inside him, fierce and alive. He knew now that he stood at a choice. Either he would burn out, a failed secret lost in space, or he would become the spark that changed everything. The ship was silent after the destruction in the medical bay. Walls had been repaired, floors patched, but the fear remained. Everyone on board now knew something was wrong. They whispered about him in secret, calling him cursed, dangerous, unnatural. Some wanted him locked away, others wanted him gone. But no one dared speak too loudly. Because they all knew the Dominion was still watching, and the Dominion had not left. 3 nights later, the colony ship was forced to stop. A massive Dominion warship blocked their path, larger than mountains, its black hull glowing with crimson light. The humans gathered in silence as the alien vessel connected to them. He stood in the docking bay, surrounded by guards. The scientist stayed at his side, her face pale, her hands trembling. The Dominion commander stepped forward, taller and colder than before. His eyes glowed deep red, burning through the crowd. His voice was like thunder rolling through the air. There is a traitor among you. The humans froze. No one moved. The commander's eyes searched the room, landing finally on him. The alien's stare cut through him, stripping away every shield. You, the commander said slowly, step forward. His heart pounded. The glow in his veins stirred, ready to rise. The scientist grabbed his arm, whispering, "Stay calm. Hide it." But he already knew the truth. The Dominion had come for him. He stepped into the center of the bay. The commander circled him, studying him like prey. You survived something no human should. You carry power not meant for your kind. His voice dripped with accusation. Tell us who gave it to you. The scientist's warning rang in his ears. No one must ever know. He stayed silent. The commander's eyes narrowed. If you will not speak, then I will take the truth from you myself. A strange device rose from the Dominion ranks, tall, silver, glowing with sharp red light. It hummed with energy, sending vibrations through the air. The commander raised a clawed hand. Begin the extraction. The device activated. Red beams lashed out, wrapping around him like chains of fire. Pain exploded through his body. His vision blurred, his skin burned, and the whisper screamed louder than ever. The hybrid is exposed. Erase him. He fell to his knees, teeth clenched, every muscle shaking. The glow inside him fought against the Dominion energy. Sparks of blue light clashed with the red beams, filling the bay with blinding flashes. Humans cried out in fear. Guards lifted weapons but dared not fire. The scientist screamed, "Stop! You'll kill him!" The commander ignored her. His red eyes burned brighter. Yes, that is the point. Something inside him snapped. The blue glow burst free, ripping the red beams apart. Energy exploded outward, knocking Dominion guards to the ground. The humans shielded their eyes as light filled the bay. He rose to his feet, glowing veins pulsing, eyes blazing with power. His voice thundered with rage. Enough! The Dominion commander staggered back, his face twisting with shock. For the first time, the alien looked afraid. The whispers in his mind screamed in chaos. The hybrid breaks free. Stop him. Destroy him! But he no longer cared. The power surged through him, unstoppable. Metal bent around him. Air shook. The ground cracked beneath his feet. And then, silence. The humans stared in awe. The Dominion soldiers froze, waiting. The commander stepped forward again, forcing calm back into his voice. You are not human anymore. You are one of us. Join the Dominion, and you will rule, resist, and your people will burn. The words hung heavy in the air. He looked at the humans, trembling in fear. He looked at the scientist, her eyes begging him not to surrender. He looked at his own hands, glowing with unnatural light. The choice tore at him. If he joined the Dominion, he could save humanity from destruction, but as their servant, their weapon. If he resisted, he could fight for freedom, but risk bringing the Dominion's wrath down on everyone he loved. His voice cracked as he whispered, "What am I supposed to do?" The commander's red eyes narrowed. Choose. The scientist stepped closer, her voice trembling but firm. No one must ever. Oh, but now the secret is out. Whatever you decide, it will decide the future of humanity. The bay was silent. Every human held their breath. Every Dominion soldier stood ready. His body glowed brighter, the storm rising again. And then, the scene froze on his face, torn between fear and fury, between surrender and rebellion. The story ended on the edge of his choice. Would he betray humanity to save it? Or would he become the spark that started a war?